Mailbag, most recently Riot Zoo asked, will AEW do a pay-per-view in the United Kingdom? And his other question was, will ITV air weekly shows for AEW? So, for the former, for that first part, AEW UK pay-per-view, considering the most recent events, I'd say yes. And I'd say, hell, we were already planning on it. Of course, we're going to host an actual pay-per-view in the United Kingdom. Spoiler.
Yeah, Wembley's got that big stadium energy. What's up, guys? This is Eric Robinson, one half of the Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another edition of Chronicles of a Wrestling Junkie. Before I get into today's video, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been following along on social media. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Junkies Pod. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Junkies Pod, and follow us on Facebook for new episodes and new content weekly. We're going to take a little bit of a different tone in today's episode because last week we're kind of coming off the heels of WrestleMania and a lot of stuff going on with WWE at the time. But also buried in that week of news is the major announcement that AEW is going international for the first time. This August, All In is coming to Wembley Stadium. This is huge for AEW. This is something that I think a lot of people have wanted to see for a long time. International wrestling fans, I assume, are going to be rejoicing over the fact that they're going to get a chance to finally see some of this AEW action live that we usually see in the States in person every week, and a lot of people don't always get to experience that. So I'm really, really excited to see what it is that they're going to do, and I've got a few thoughts, and I just want to share those with you guys. I know that I like wrestling, you guys like wrestling, so let's talk about it. Let's just get into the major announcement here. Tony Khan and Nigel McGuinness announced last week on Dynamite that they would be coming to Wembley Stadium for the first time, and then released a press release with full details. Again, this is just such a huge opportunity for AEW, and I want to take a look at the numbers really quickly. So let's start with the basics. Wembley Stadium has a capacity of 90,000 seats. We all know that WWE famously held SummerSlam 1992 there, and they had a stadium record of about 80,000 at the time. This is very clearly a massive undertaking for AEW in trying to put this event together. Their largest stadium show has been Arthur Ashe Stadium. The last couple of years, they've done between 13 and 20,000 seats. So they've got some work ahead of them, that's for sure. But I think that there are a few things that I could say that I believe they should do in order for this to be a major success. But not like they really care what it is that, I have to say, but, a guy can dream, right? So when I first heard this announcement, one of the first things that came to my mind immediately is how WWE is going to London in June for Money in the Bank at the O2 Arena. Now, the O2 Arena holds about 20,000 seats, so AEW does have the opportunity to make the larger splash in the international wrestling landscape this year, and I think that this is the right company to do it. WWE has been in the middle of a transition with the Endeavor sale, and we know that they're going to have some international events over the rest of 2023, but I don't know that they'll be quite on this scale that AEW gets the opportunity to do here, and that's why I'm so excited for what it is that they're doing. This has the opportunity to be their most successful show ever, be their biggest show ever, and I have no doubt that Tony Khan is going to call in every single favor that he can in order to make this show a success. But to get into some of my thoughts on the show itself and what I would like to see, first thing that comes to mind for me is book Simon Miller. Now, Simon Miller is the best wrestling personality that I can think of right now that is also translated into actually working and having great matches on the independents over in the UK. Getting Simon Miller to do a Battle Royal appearance in the buy-in pre-show would just pop that crowd so hard, and I think that'd be a really cool opportunity for him and to show what he can do in front of a stage that size. Will we get it? Experience says no, but again, a guy's here to dream today. Now, am I getting ahead of myself? Absolutely. Do I care? Not really, no. Now, there's more than a few matches that immediately came to mind for me as far as what would make for a great all-in card, and these are really in no particular order, but the first one that I'm going to say is Orange Cassidy versus Kip Sabian for the AEW International Championship. Now, Orange Cassidy has been on just an absolute roller coaster over the last few months. They've absolutely strapped the jetpack to him. He's more over than he was when he first debuted in AEW, and it's only going to continue to get better for him. He has really brought a value and prestige to this international championship. It's very much a close equivalent to WWE's European Championship during the Attitude Era, and this is the opportunity to not only make a major splash on an international show, but having an opponent like Kip Sabian is going to make for a fun, fast-paced opener that I think will really get heads turning, really get people on their feet to start the show. It's hard to not root for Orange Cassidy the second that the piano from his theme song hits. This is a surefire opener that I think is going to get a lot of people's attention. Now, I'm just making these predictions for fun. We're 4 months out from the show, so there's still a lot that can happen creatively. But the next match I have in mind is House of Black versus Death Triangle. House of Black have been on an absolute tear with the Trios Championships, and they're really, really representing the belts well these days. I think that a match with Death Triangle, especially because you're getting Pac in Wembley Stadium and people are going to go absolutely nuts for it, this is another potential opening contest that will get people talking. These are some of the best wrestlers in the world right now, and there's going to be no shortage of stiff shots. A real strong style type match. So this is one I would absolutely love to see, and it's certainly got my $50 if it's on pay-per-view. All right, now hear me out here. So Mercedes Moné has been on an absolute tear in Japan since she debuted earlier in January, and Mercedes Moné needs to be on this card. It's no secret that she is enjoying her run on the Indies right now. She does have relationships in Japan now. She's firmly cemented herself there. There's no reason that she can't come to terms with Tony Khan on some sort of per fight basis. We know the Forbidden Door is also coming up in June before this show, so that could tell us a lot about whether we see Mercedes Moné show up. But it's my personal hope that we do see her show up, and if she does show up, there's one opponent in mind that I have for her, and it's Jade Cargill. Now, Jade Cargill has improved tremendously over the last 2 years since she's debuted in the wrestling business, and she adds a certain gravitas to the TBS Championship. The problem is that not all of her wins are marquee wins, and that's only going to get so far with a crowd. That's only going to get so far with how you grow as a performer. And I think that Mercedes and Jade have what feels to be, and they've never even shared a ring together. I'm not going to sit here and say that they've even never met each other. But if you get these two in the ring, one-on-one, add some prestige to that TBS championship, it'll go a long way in helping to cement Jade as not just the TBS champion, but showing what she could do if they do translate her to the main event scene, because we really haven't seen a whole lot of interaction with her or Britt Baker or Jamie Hayter as far as clashing over the women's championship or Jade even having her sights set on the women's championship. So if that's not in her focus right now, then there's no reason that they can't get the best challenger that they can for the TBS championship. And I personally believe that that's Mercedes Moné. Now, that's no disrespect to Ty Valkyrie, and we know that those two are eventually going to have a great match when they clash down the line. Just a matter of when that happens, but we also don't know who could potentially go over in that feud. I think that the idea of 100 wins for Jade Cargill is pretty enticing, and if you ask me, they should time that in order to get to that show, but I'm also not doing the math right now about where she's at with her win streak. So, again, just some wishful thinking from your boy. Now, another question that I immediately thought of when hearing this announcement is, what main events this show? And there are two matches that come to mind for me immediately, but these are in no particular order. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about these, but I'm just going to go ahead and propose them anyway. The first one, we've already had some teasing of it. The four pillars of AEW, MJF, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and Sammy Guevara have all been mixing it up lately and have shown their interest in MJF's AEW World Championship or the BBB. And this is one of those matches that if you can hold off just a little bit longer and get to Wembley Stadium, they've lived up to the expectations of what it means to represent AEW, and they certainly are going to be the building blocks for this company for the next 10 to 20 years, God willing, especially with Darby Allin. So I see no reason why they just don't save this for that show, because getting these four guys together will absolutely tear the roof off the place. Not that it actually has one, but this is certainly an enjoyable main event, especially for your world title. The reason that I'm not sure whether this should be a co-main or a semi-main event is that there's always the question that your world title should end the show, but there are a couple of other matches, as I'm going to explain a little bit, that I think have the potential to main event this show. Let me know what you think, but Four Pillars match for the AEW World Championship has money written all over it. I can't stress enough how badly AEW needs to get this main event right. This is a major opportunity to break into an international market in the ways that WCW, ECW, and Impact have never been able to do before. If I'm booking a main event, less is more. No blood and guts, no gimmick matches, just a fire banger of a wrestling match and or a world title match. Now, when it comes to banger wrestling matches, first one that comes to mind, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay have put on some of the best work of their careers to date within the last 6 to 8 months. And to have this rubber match that everybody is talking about, that everybody wants to see, they continue to tease each other on social media. And anytime that they're sharing a ring together or anytime they're sharing a wrestling card together, this has the opportunity to be the most blockbuster main event in AEW history. Kenny Omega is Mr. AEW at this point. Everything that he's done to put his body on the line to further this business, to further the company's objectives as a whole, to grow and continue to etch out their space in the lexicon of professional wrestling. This is their chance to do it. This is just, again, one of those matches that a banger one-on-one main event. Let them fight. You know that it's going to be stiff. You know it's going to be brutal. And you know it's going to be entertaining as hell and probably a 7-star outing by Uncle Dave. If I'm booking the main event, this merits some consideration. Another match that deserves placement on the card is Ricky Starks versus Switchblade Jay White. The same night as the All-In announcement, Switchblade Jay White debuted on Dynamite. After being courted by WWE and AEW, it looks like Jay White has decided to become All Elite and set his sights on Ricky Starks. This is absolutely a potential show stealer on that card. And again, I know that we're 4 months out, but seeing the work that Ricky Starks has put in the last 6 to 8 months, there's no questioning that he is set to do bigger and better things within AEW. And having a program with a guy like Jay White, who was the hottest free agent in wrestling in 2023, is only going to do more to further his career and show why he deserves to break into that main event space. And Jay White also needs to impress too. We are aware of the work that he's capable of doing, but now that he's All Elite, it's looking like he's going to want to make a splash in anything that he does. So Jay White versus Ricky Starks, give me this match. I think for me, it boils down to this. If you are going to invoke the name of the show that was the impetus for the creation of the second biggest wrestling company in North America right now, you better show up and you better show out. And I firmly believe that Tony Khan is going to be able to do that with this card at All In. Pre-sales are through the roof right now from what I'm hearing, approximately 25,000 so far. So they are a quarter of the way there without even a match being announced. So huge opportunity for them. I cannot wait to see what they do over the next 4 months. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What matches do you want to see? What wrestlers do you want to see show up? Do you want some debuts? Do you want some returns? Let's just get that dialogue going. Let's grow this community. Again, remember to like us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, follow us on Spotify. We are trying to get to 100 followers right now. Help us to reach our goals so that we can keep making great content for you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is Eric Robinson. This has been Chronicles of a Wrestling Junkie, and I'll talk to you soon.